Hello, and welcome to Dan and Ian Have Questions. Are you interested in people's unique hobbies, passions, and how it all gets started? Well, you're in the right place. These two, like many of you, know a little bit about a lot and always have questions. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy as they find out what makes everyone so interesting. This is the Dan and Ian Have Questions podcast.
Well, basically, this is just us getting to know each other.
Yeah, it is.
Asking each other questions.
Yes, exactly.
So I guess I'm Ian. I'm out of Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm joined with my friend Dan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dan, and I'm from, we're actually right near Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, don't give yourself away. You don't want to get doxxed.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, who the heck's going to know, like, what town I live in? Nobody's going to be like, oh, man, that place is unbelievable. I heard so much about that place. I learned about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never going to work
That's
way.
that place where that horrible thing happened, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Once they look it up.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's just when I could say like, oh, well, the town I'm in is has a legendary, haunted triangle relating to it.
Oh God. I live in a legendary haunted triangle. Blah, 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 here.
Yeah.
But basically, just we started this show just to ask questions to folks that it started out as us meeting through a group and finding out that there was many interesting people out there. And it was just maybe having a couple adult beverages, and we just realized we both were asking a lot of questions and figuring out everybody that we know had some kind of cool backstory before we knew it. We knew them first, talked through Zoom, did our trivia thing, and then slowly found out that it's quite a cast of characters.
Yeah.
At least
everybody's unique. Everybody is unique in what we have as friends. And I've always been a curious guy. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ian, you growing up, probably was a very curious kid as well. And I was always told that I was actually a really good listener because I had to always ask questions because I would always want to know about the person that I was like talking to directly.
Yes.
And like I always find their stories very cool to listen to and fascinating, and I cherish them always whenever I can hear something really cool about it. I think it probably started out when I was younger. We used to go to the Boston Museum of Science. When I would go on school vacation, my mom would get like free passes to go there all the time, and we would go like practically like once a week. And I think that really kind of sparked my interest about pretty much anything and everything that has to do with the world around us. I was huge into dinosaurs, and obviously that was like my mecca.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, we had that in common. I grew up. I was maybe it was Jurassic Park that got me. Yeah. But yeah, I was completely obsessed with dinosaurs. I had my whole room was painted like clay color. My dad put like what is that? It's not wallpaper. It's like the runner in the middle of the wall. What is that?
Oh, yeah. The molding?
Or whatever. And it was pictures of dinosaurs like all the way around the room.
Okay.
So it was like
Yep.
The top part was, the top half was like that clay color. The bottom was like a sand, like a beige look to it. So I was like, I was fully in. I got sucked in by the dinos.
Yeah. I can actually blame Godzilla getting into that, whole thing.
Yeah, that was another reason we really started thinking about this, is because the Godzilla connection. And I like Godzilla. You love Godzilla.
Yeah. Well, I have a Godzilla tattoo, so
and that was
yeah. and that's the tribute to when my father and we used to watch this show called Creature Devil Feature. That was at a local channel, and they would always show either like the classic horror monsters, or they would show a lot of Godzilla imports. And I was just obsessed with that stuff, and it really married nicely into the obsessions that actually I've probably grown up and still have today, and it's just never really ever gone away. Typically a lot of adults, they used to say like, oh, after I turned like 10 years old, I stopped being really interested in stuff like that. And I never really did. I was hook, line, and sinker. I always joke around that actually I have a better rapport with 7-year-olds talking about dinosaurs than I do with the adults. So
It's nice. Well, the creature double feature. What channel was that on? Because I've heard that from plenty of people on that coast.
Well, obviously it's different from wherever you go, because back in the day, the channels were localized. So it was LVI 56, I think it was, on my channel up here in Boston. But I mean, every place has it differently. I'm not really sure. I'm probably sure there's one in Cleveland that had like a different host, and whatever the channel it was, I'm sure it was different in your area. But
yeah, we had well, I moved to Cleveland later in life, but it was the Ghoul, and
yes,
Ghoulardi, that was his name. Yeah, Ghoulardi, then Son of the Ghoul, and yeah, there was a couple different, and then Svengoolie. Now since Me TV and all that, it's pretty much he's the only horror host out there that I can think of like that's still going.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, because I'm older than you, but I still remember like Elvira doing the hosting of horror, like really bad horror movies. Then there's like, what was the other guy? It was like Billy Joe Bob.
Oh, Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs. That's what it was. Yeah, so like he would be a host for something I would stay up late to watch. So, and then the obsessions with when you're a kid, you get into like wrestling. There's that obsession where my brother and I we would watch ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling.
I just watched the documentary like Forever Hardcore or whatever not too long ago, and it was like the old ECW documentary, and I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, my brother and I used to watch it on an old black and white tube TV, probably like 15-inch tube TV, and it was on the Spanish channel at like 12:30 at night till.
Wait, did this have Spanish commentators and everything?
No, it was all in English, but it was on the Telemundo channel.
Telemundo.
And they would actually they would go for an hour, so it'd be like 12:30 to like 1:30 that we'd stay up late to watch it, and that was our little obsession for a long time. We'd stay up late, and then when they would wrestle around here, they would actually wrestle at a dog track. Like in the
appropriate.
lobby. Yes, in the lobby. and so we used to have to take the train in to go in to see that. And then that would be like the sole purpose of just going out in the most of like, the scariest of places just to go see them wrestle. But that was like, that's another obsession that you love the subject so much that you're willing to do anything to go see the product. So that's what it was. It was going to, this was actually at Wonderland Dog Track Park, and that's what we did. So that's another big thing that we used to do.
Now, I never actually been to a wrestling match myself. I was a huge fan, and I've always regretted it, especially now. Yeah, I'm like, damn it, I've never a chance to go see one of these spectacles live. Yeah. Even though I'm not like I'd still go to watch it. I'm not a fan. I don't keep up, other than listening to like Jim Cornette or somebody bitching or complaining rather about it. But yeah, I haven't watched wrestling in forever. Yeah, it's just weird now after the pandemic and the like virtual crowds that they have and stuff now. Right. It just looks odd.
Well, I think really, because being in Boston, being such like a hub for everything, wrestling has been around with me for a long time. My grandfather was really big into it. So what it was is that there's this famous wrestler local from, his name was Killer Kowalski.
Oh yeah.
And he actually had a school in Boston.
I was going to say that he's the dude that's like, oh, I went to Killer Kowalski's school. Like a lot of people. Yeah.
Like Triple H, he was a product of that. Right off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone else. I think China also wrestled there as well. But he used to write an article every week, and he would write down the results of wrestling matches that were happening in the local area. And my grandfather used to clip them out all the time, and he would give them to me, and I'll be like, "Hey, thanks," like when I was younger. But
Oh,
then I
yeah.
got a little older, and I kind of like, "Oh, thank you," put it off to the side, and then all of a sudden have it shuffled back into the trash. But keeping that hope alive, interest. And then when I got older and we got a little bit towards the extreme era of wrestling and the competition between WCW and WWE, that's when it like re-sparked again, and then kind of brought everything back to life. When I got a little too closer to college, we did backyard wrestling, and we did that whole thing.
See, now I might have heard this, but yeah, I guess I didn't realize that aspect about you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a wild ride.
It's a
Get
wild
your
ride.
seatbelt. Yeah. Strap on, buddy. It's gonna get weirder.
I give you props just for saying WWE. I still am. I can't correct myself. It's always WWF to me.
I know. You know what the thing is? It's just like you say it so many times, and then it becomes second nature. Even though, like I was obsessed with wrestling when it was the WWF. But now, then, since they changed everything over, and then even like the older videos, if you watch stuff from the '80s, they still say WWE and not like WWF. Like this is the era of or whatever WWE match of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like the commentary is still commentary from the '80s. But they still introduce all this stuff from the archives.
They haven't gone back and gone crazy with like superimposing WWE on top of the old logo or nothing yet.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
So let's actually, what do we talk about you?
Oh God, me.
Like what interests do you have? What hobbies are you into? What obsessions do you have that is like unique to you?
Well, not unique to me, really. I mean, music's always been there, probably since I was about 11, 12, something like that.
Right.
I got a bass. I was like, I'm going to get a bass because then I can join a band because there's so many guitar players. I'll get a bass and I'm for sure going to get in a band. And guess what? It worked.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be good. I lied about knowing all kinds of stuff. I met my buddy, one of my buddies, Shaun, way back in middle school, and started talking. And I don't think I played really any at the time. And yeah, started jamming with him, and that was just the beginning of playing music. But for a long time, it was bands and music. And then, of course, growing up, moving, it fell to the wayside. Having a kid, all that stuff. But it's always around. Obviously, I did actually Shaun is the one that helped me put together the intro song. So that was cool. I was able to
Shaun.
Shout out to Shaun, Mercenary Studios. Yeah. But yeah, that's always been a through line. And the other through line that we both know each other for, and I need to stop nervously clicking this pin. The other thing that we both have, together. The reason we met is, and as generic as it may seem nowadays, Star Wars. That's been the through line since, I can't even remember when it came into my life, but yeah, it's been pretty much, it seems like my whole life. It's been every year I still get a Christmas gift or birthday gift or something Star Wars from family because they just know, And it's always been around, and we met each other through the Super Friends trivia group.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, it's pretty much I got music, I got Star Wars, and then I got work pretty much right now. But
yeah, I know.
But yeah, that's been pretty much it. Is just I'm a pretty dull guy. That's why I think I latch on to other people and interesting folks and try to live vicariously through their obsessions and interests.
Now, going back to your music background, was your parents, did they play instruments? Did they have like a certain influence into what you were into, or like did they nurture that obsession with music?
Oh, definitely, like nurtured and helped me out along the way. Everybody did with the music. My dad got me my first bass and the amp and stuff, and then throughout the years, just dealing with taking me to gigs as a kid that was too young, or taking me to practice and all that kinds of crap. And
Hmm.
but as far as background, nobody plays music. At least I'm thinking of my dad's side. Nobody played. I remember uh,
Is that a
finding.
Cleveland thing?
Yeah, I remember. I
Remember?
remember finding a banjo once as a kid, like underneath my grandpa's bed, and being like, "What is this?" But it was all busted up and broken. No strings or nothing. I couldn't mess with it, but I was like
Right.
fascinated by that. But on my mom's side, we have, learning later in life that I have cousins and uncles and stuff that always had the guitars out and stuff. Like I see old pictures, and I'm like, oh, no crap. They're actually there is musical background in my family, just not directly mom or dad or
Right.
anything like that. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I think it was one time I went with my dad. We were hanging out over at one of his friends' house, and he had a Fender. I don't even know what model, whatever, but it was just sitting like over in the corner. And I was watching a movie and just picked up the guitar and just making noise.
Hmm.
And then from that point forward, I always attached that in my head. That point forward, it pretty much was the reason I think I wanted to play guitar after that. But
Right.
like I said, I chose the bass so I could get into a band.
Yeah. Yeah. That's usually seems to be the easiest way in, is be the one, the lesser note of the out of the three or four. So
Sorry to all of our bass player friends out there.
I don't.
We
No,
got we got a couple of them.
yeah, yeah. I don't knock it. I used to play bass too. So I actually have a couple of basses here, but I haven't played them in years. So I think. Go ahead.
No, I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
got a
yeah,
couple sitting there.
yeah. I got a couple sitting, but I haven't played them in years. So it's kind of a fall on the wayside. A lot of other interests that I sometimes have. It's like I get hyper focused on it for a short time, and then I'm just like, all right, what's next? Type of thing.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I get that all the time, and I'm like, is that? I don't want to even say it. Is that some disorder? It's like I know what I think I'm talking about, but I get super obsessed about something, and
I don't know.
I'll just
Yeah.
get worn out on it. Like I'll go
Right.
go 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 go, and then I'm just like, meh. All right, I'm done with this, and then move on to
Right.
another thing, and then get super obsessed about that, and then I'm like, oh, what? I forgot about the other thing I was doing. Like
Yeah. I think what it is, it's like if you don't have anybody else that has the same obsession as you do, then you tend that obsession kind of falls on the wayside. So like I'm really big into photography, and I've been doing it for quite a number of years.
yeah,
And I was really like I was thirsting for, or hungering for, critiquing of photography, because you can only go so far when everybody on Facebook says, "Oh, it looks great. Oh, it looks wonderful. Oh, it looks this and this and this." And it's like you don't learn anything, you don't grow, because nobody really gives you any kind of criticism that you can take and apply to future photography that you do. So that's why, like, I joined a photography group, that I've been actually, I'm the vice president now for the club, and I have been for 2 years, 2 or 3 years now. So but they're all, like, everybody in varying levels. There's all the way to, like, experts, people who are experts in their fields, who, like, this is what they do for their livelihood, that it's like super important for them to make sure that the photography that they do is perfect, and that the client that they're serving is happy with the product that they were paying to get it done. So you take their criticisms and anything that they can do to help you with, like, the utmost weight. And I think that's really what it is. It's like, you have to, if you get into an obsession, you have to find other people who are there to not just pat you on the back every single time you post something up,
yeah.
but actually criticize, or they give you constructive criticism that will help you in the future, that pushes you to become the perfect person that you should be.
No,
You know
no,
what I
that
mean?
makes sense. Yeah, because I get that. You throw stuff out there, people like it, say, oh, good job, great. Oh, that looks amazing. But that's from a non photographer's eye, and they're just
Right.
giving you the accolade. You're like, all right, I need some tough love, somebody to tell
Yeah.
me, actually, the composition's off in this. If you did this one, 2 or 3, you'll make this a million
Right.
times better.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I always bring my camera around, even though I don't take pictures all the time. It's like it's there, and I'm ready to bust it out if I ever get the feeling to do it. I have some friends who just that's what they do. They bring a camera with them. They throw it in the car, and they just drive around doing their shopping, or they just go to the park or whatever, and they just bust out their camera. It's ready. It's there when it meets when they want to do it. So, there's things like that where, like, if you're funny enough, if your finger is always on the trigger, you're going to eventually press that button to take shots.
Well, photography, I got, probably over 10 years ago. I got a camera from my parents, and I was doing it all the time, taking pictures, loved it. And then, of course, the camera busted on me, and
Right.
didn't have the funds to go get another one, and that kind of just fell to the wayside.
The wayside,
But yeah, and so I look back, and I like see these pictures every once in a while pop up on Facebook or some, like whatever, Google Drive or whatever, and I'm like, oh God, that's right. A lot of pictures of trees and a lot of a lot of pictures of stuff that's like not that significant.
Right.
For some reason, I had an obsession with like putting the camera, like if you're looking up a tree, I would literally set the camera on the tree, like looking up. So it was like, was that forced perspective where it's like everything's really, really close and it looks like it's gigantic. Like I did that with everything. I had like one mode.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. It's what I always say is, like, I love going to comic book conventions, and because you get everybody wants their picture taken, so you get free modeling.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay for models, which is always a great thing. And I always love, so I have a fisheye lens. It's an 8mm fisheye lens that I mostly use primary as my lens of choice when I do that, because the forced perspective, you get that, you get the big wide chest because of like the distortion. And so everyone who's like a superhero, you put them like in a superhero pose, and you take that shot, and it looks like they have huge forearms and huge big chests, because, like, they look bigger than what they really are. And I really love that image. And then I do a lot of so like down up shots, so angled shots looking up, because that will make them look bigger than what they really are. So I love distorting. I love the distortion of reality, and what lenses do to create a fantasy that you, as like a person, when you look at someone, it just looks like, wow, it's just like a really good costume and everything like that. But I'm adding something a little bit more that that maybe the cosplayer doesn't think of, that looks pretty cool for them and to also show outwardly. So like that's why I love going to like conventions and just taking shots all the time. I was never much of a cosplayer. I never did any really cosplaying.
Well, the flight suit.
Yeah. I've only shown it like a few times.
Oh, right.
But I was never really big into cosplay. Like everyone was like, "Oh, how come you didn't go into?" For example, there's a club group called the 501st, and they are a Star Wars centric club. And members can dress up. They dress up as stormtroopers, or then there's the other side of it, which is the Rebel Legion.
I was just gonna say 501st is the bad guys, Rebel Legion's the good guys, pretty much.
The good guys.
Yeah.
But if you ever talk to the members, they're interchangeable. Like they're part of both groups, because depending on what they dress up as, they're part of that or they're part of the other. But they're both like incestuous. They tend to marry into together.
Yeah, because I remember looking into like 501st and stuff like that, and how they are very meticulous with making sure that you're not walking in with your Halloween USA $30 costume and saying, I want to be a part of this group.
Well, because it's like you're representing that group, and also you're representing Lucasfilm. And a lot of times they actually reach out to the 501st. Prime example is when the first season of The Mandalorian, they needed troops for the last episode. They're like, if you guys have watched the show, they there's like an end scene where they had a bunch of troopers out there ready to
basically a village of
like
stormtroopers.
Yeah, and they needed a whole battalion, and so they're like, well, just call the 501st. They'll be down here in like a matter of hours. So that's what they did. They called them all down, and they got instant groups. They got an instant army just floating right down there, ready to be shot. So that's what they do. They represent. You have to be meticulous. They have to be perfect, because you never know when the call goes out to be ready to be like, hey, you're going to be on screen, and we got to make sure that what you have is perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I love that. I love that story. Yeah. Cause it was like, basically they were like, we can't reproduce. Like they were basically worried about budget. Wasn't it like a budget thing? Like, oh, we need all these costumes. Where the heck are we going to get all these costumes? And they're like, oh, I know who to call.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
and then they said the plus side was that now those people can say they actually have screen used armor now.
Right.
Like
yeah, exactly.
Their costumes have been on screen. So it's like a plus.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, that's basically what this podcast is all about. It's about people's obsession about something.
Yeah.
And how did they nurture and grow what they love so much that they are unabashedly, they have that as a badge of pride that they show everyone to the world, So, and every episode we're going to be interviewing somebody who has like an amazing collection and what got them into making that collection, or they take their obsession and they make it a profession.
Yes.
We're going to be talking to people who have like museums of their obsession. And,
yes. I hope that I can't wait for that one to come up.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And the owner I've known for years, and he's a great person. So, and I can't wait to everybody in our little fandom, check it out and to enjoy it. And to go to it, and you can really see how much love and care that he has done, how much money and effort he's done to display his work, and how everybody can go and enjoy it. And that's the best part of a lot of these people's collections, is to the joy that people have into so much work that they put into that you see the smiles on people's faces, or their obsession about it. So we do have a wealth of people we can interview and talk to. And if you guys have anyone that you want us to talk to, if you want us to reach out and interview, don't be afraid to send us a message. We actually have an email that you can send it to. Is that right, Ian?
Yes, at danandianpod@gmail.com. Yeah.
As of right now.
Right now.
But we also have a Facebook page right now, where all it is just, the www.facebook.com/Dan and Ian ask questions. Isn't that what it is? Or
triple / exclamation point, hashtag.
Well, just do a search. Do a search for us, and then you'll find the page, and that's where we're going to be posting up any videos that we might have, and also the podcast will be released by then.
Hopefully the next episode we will have one of our buddies who's got a giant collection of basically just action figures in place. It's all kinds of stuff. Actually, that's why we want to talk to him, because I know there's more than what we've seen. Every time we get on Zoom or something, it looks like he's sitting in the middle of a store.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I remember the first time, one of the few times that he jumped onto one of our Zoom meetings. I looked in the back and I'm like, are you still working? Like, are you at a mini mall or something like that? Just like displays. He has displays and displays of like toys. And there are so many people out there in just the U.S. that have like these large collections that are like hidden in every little nook and cranny, around here, and it's like, and that's what I love about it. I'm obsessed with people's collections and how do they get into it,
Exactly. I can't afford it, so I'm like, let me see yours. I don't have the room for it.
A lot of times it's like by mistake too. I think I was thinking about that today. I was like, well, what collections? I mean, I have a big like the Black Series 6-inch figures, but then I started remembering, I'm like, oh my God, like the first collections probably I have is like movies. I have a ridiculous amount of movies. And then I have friends who their whole bedroom is all movies.
Yeah, I made that mistake like high school. I would just buy movies all the time, get movies.
Right.
And a lot of music DVDs too, like bands and stuff, when that would be
Right.
like a big thing, like buying the whatever bands, like tour videos and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was a dummy, and I remember putting them in like one of the travel cases, and it just gone. Like
gone.
You lose it, it's all gone. And it's one of those things where I feel defeated. I'm like, whatever. That was fun. I guess we'll try here in the future. And now I see stuff that I had, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then I'm like, oh my, what do they want for it now? I think before they went to the Disney Plus was the Ewok movies. I remember having that, and that got lost in that travel case. And then it was like $40 for the DVD. I'm like, I paid like $5-10 for that at the time because nobody wanted it.
Yeah. Well, in a next podcast, I have a short little story about obsession about a particular movie that I had to like, but I mean, it's not very long or really that interesting, but still it's something to save later on in our future podcasts that we might have. But, basically what we're going to be doing this is just, the love that people have on when it's relating to pop culture.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually, I hope not just try to keep it just strictly to pop culture. I mean, anybody interesting, really.
We're not particularly. We're drawn toward pop culture, but we're not. Like we can, I think we could talk to anybody, any like scientists. I'm cool with that. I can talk science with the best of them. I really, anything you have that you feel that is interesting, I'm definitely down with.
I can listen. I can listen to people talk about science with the best of them. I might not be able to engage in that, but yeah, I definitely. Right. I'll make you backtrack to. I'll ask the simplest elementary questions that there is about the subject, and then everybody can roll their eyes and go. Well, all right, let me go back to A. We were on Z, but let me go all the way back. But yeah, hopefully this turns into something pretty cool that we can get people on here and actually hear their stories. And I'm blanking.
And as long as we make it interesting for you guys out there, to keep coming back every time we have one of these, and we hope you enjoy it and give us some positive feedback, as well as any constructive criticism to
we were just talking about constructive criticism. We don't want that was a good job, guys. But I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read the comments.
Yeah, I know it's going to be bad, man. I could take it. I could take the heat.
I could take the heat.
I could take it.
Some 12-year-old kid on YouTube's. He ain't going to tell me.
What do you think? You're better than me now, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, let me know when you can rent a car, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Do your feet touch the ground when you sit on the couch?
Yeah, exactly. So, but all right, guys, it's great to hear from you, Ian.
You as well, Mr. Dan.
And once again, till the next time we're back on, this is Dan
and Ian, and
this is Dan and Ian Have Questions, the podcast.
The podcast. All right, that's gonna be fun to edit.
All right.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or suggestions, write to us at danandianpod@gmail.com or search Dan and Ian Have Questions podcast on Facebook. Intro music provided by Ian Savage. Music produced and recorded by Shaun Vanek at Mercenary Studios. Thanks again for listening, and see you next time.